Multiplication. The definition of multiplication is having a bunch of groups, each having the same number of items in them, and then counting the total number of items. So we have 2,379 things times 1,204 groups. So that means we have 1,204 groups and each one has 2,379 things in each. So what I did here on the side is I wrote down my 1,204 groups. And each group has 2,379 things in each. So I'm going to start off in my singles place, which is this, and then I'll work my way through. So I'm going to start off with the 4. So I'm going to go to my last 4 groups, and the number in the singles place is a 9. So 9 times 4 is 36. So that means 4 groups had 9 things in them, which equals to 36. Now I'm gonna go to my last, I'm still gonna be with my last 4 groups, but now I'm gonna look at the 10th place, which will be the 70. So now I'm working with the 70, so it's gonna be 4 times 7, which is 28, plus the 3 that I had up here, which leaves me 31. So now I'll go back to my last 4 groups. Now I'm looking at the hundreds place, which is a 300. So it's going to be 4 times 3, which is 12, plus 3, which equals 15. I go back to my 4 groups, and now I'm looking at the 1,000 place, which is the 2,000. So I'm going to do 4 times 2, will give me 8, plus 1, which equals 9. So the number that I got here, which is 9,516, is how much stuff is in 4 groups. Now I'm going to focus on these 2 numbers, which is my 10th place. So each time that we're done, for example, here I'm done with the 4. So now what I'm going to do is move on to the next number. But each time we move down, we add a 0. So the question is, why am I going to add a 0? So each time you multiply something that has a 0, it's going to give you a 0. For example, 10 times 5 equals 50. 100 times 5 equals 500. So because this one had only 1 0, I get 1 0. Because this one has 2 zeros, I get 2 zeros. So here, I'm only gonna get 1 0 because I'm barely canceling out the 4. So now I'm gonna start multiplying my 0 groups times my things. So 0 groups times 9 equals 0. 0 groups times 7 things equals 0. 0 groups times 3 things equals 0. 0 groups times 2 things also gives me a 0. Now I'm going to my next step. So we're done multiplying by the 0. So because I canceled out the 0 and the 4, we're going to do 2 zeros down here. Because now it's like we're multiplying 200 by my things, which is where my 2 zeros come up from. So now I'm gonna look at my last two groups. Let's just say these are my last two groups. So I have 0 times 9. 2 times 9, I'm sorry. Gives me 18. So put my 8 over here. So now it's 2, my last two groups, times 7, or 70, we could say. So 2 times 7 is 14, plus 1 is 15. 2 times 3, we get 3 from here. 2 times 3 is 6, plus 1 is 7. Then we go back to our two groups, and we multiply it by the thousands. So 2 times 2 is 4. And then we're going to continue this process, but now I'm going to cross out the 200. So now we're going to multiply everything by 1,000, which is why I'm drawing the 3 zeros here. So I'm only going to look at one group this time. So 1 times 9 is 9. 1 times 7, it's 7. 1 times 3, it's 3. 1 times 2 gives me 2. So what I did here was I multiplied this by 0 groups. This was multiplied by the 200 groups. And this was multiplied by the 1,000 groups. So basically this is how much stuff is in 4 groups, how much stuff is in 0 groups, how much stuff is in the 200 groups, and how much stuff is in the 1,000 stuff in the groups. So now I'm just going to go ahead and all these add up the total items in each group to get my final result. Okay, so once I add up my total, this is how much stuff is in the 1,204 groups.